wake up the world. We're just boys and girls. He can still wake up the world. We're just boys and girls. He can still wake up the world. We're just boys and girls. He can still wake up the world.
Welcome back to Wake Up the World. In the last few weeks, we've been learning that God is in control of everything in heaven and on earth. Nothing is outside of God's good plan. This is important to remember, that nothing happens by chance. As weird or surprising as some things are to us, nothing surprises God. Keep that in mind as you check out today's story.
Our story today is about a man named Jacob. To figure out how Jacob fits into the story, let's have a little recap theater. God promised to give Abraham a big family that would bless the whole world. God gave Abraham Isaac and many other children. Abraham lived to be 175 years old. Isaac grew up and married Rebekah. They had twin boys. The first to be born was Esau. The second was Jacob. The boys grew up. Esau was a good hunter and loved the outdoors. Jacob really just loved staying at home, cooking, and being with his mother. One day when Jacob was home cooking stew, Esau came home starving. He asked Jacob for some food. Jacob told Esau he could have stew only if he gave Jacob his birthright. A birthright was a very big deal in Bible times. The firstborn son was to be in charge when his father died and would also receive the family money and land. It was a very big deal. But Esau was very, very hungry and agreed to give his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of stew and some bread. Many years later, when Isaac was an old man and couldn't see, Jacob snuck in and tricked Isaac into blessing him before he died. Esau was furious. Their mother was afraid that Esau would kill his brother Jacob, so she sent Jacob away. He ran for many, many years. When he was running, one night God spoke to Jacob in a dream. God said, "I am the God of your grandfather Abraham and the God of your father Isaac. I will give you and your family this land." God made the same promise to Jacob that he had given to Abraham, that he would be with him and watch over him wherever he would go. Jacob promised to follow God. And that is where our story picks up today. Years passed. Jacob married and had a family. He took his family back to Canaan. He was afraid, though, that his brother Esau would still be there and would still be angry at him. He sent gifts ahead to try to make Esau happy before he arrived. That night, God appeared to Jacob in the form of a man. God fought and wrestled with Jacob all night. Jacob didn't give up. He kept wrestling. God touched Jacob's hip, breaking it. Jacob still refused to give up. He continued wrestling and said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." God said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob. Your name will be Israel, because you wrestled with God and men, and you have won." God blessed Jacob. Then Jacob went to meet Esau. Esau ran to Jacob and hugged him. He wasn't angry anymore. Esau returned to his home. Jacob and his family traveled on, and Jacob bought land for them to live on. Jacob was finally home in the land God had promised him. Hi friends, welcome back to #Bring It All Together. This is the time in the show when we think about our story and we think, why does it really matter for us today? And so today's story was all about Jacob, how God changed Jacob. But let's think, Jacob's name meant that he was a tricky trickster. Do you guys know what your name means?
That's a great question, Holly. Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy, but that is more of a nickname. My actual name is James, and that means one who follows. How about you?
I'm Miss Jade, and I don't have a nickname, it's just Jade. Jade means precious stone, so it's a green stone, and I've got green eyes.
Wow, Wow, mine is not as special as a stone. That's so cool. No, my name, Holly, is for hollyberry tree. Have you guys ever seen that before? A hollyberry tree? They're usually around Christmas time, but I was born in February. I don't know, but that's mine. Wow, guys, we saw this week how God truly was in control of Jacob's life, but we've really seen it from all the way back at the beginning. How have you guys seen God in control each week?
That's a great question because God has been in control ever since He created everything. Think about it. He created the sun, the moon, the stars, our planet, all the mountains, all the holly trees, all the jade stones. He created everything and He's so in control, but He's also in control of every single one of our lives, even those who existed way back in the beginning.
Yeah, and we also saw God being in control when He flooded the whole earth, but He chose to save Noah's family. And that was Him being in control there because there was only one family left and a whole bunch of animals, and He saved them all.
That's amazing. And even after Noah and his family were saved, the world got pretty bad. But God was still in control and chose a man named Abraham to lead his people into where they were supposed to be. And his family tree is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we see how through His promise, it led to the birth of Isaac, the fulfillment of that promise, that he would have so much in his family that it would be more than the stars in the sky. And that started with Isaac. And then, which leads us to this week, because Isaac's son was Jacob. God is so good. He is in control, and His promises do come true. His promises are even true for us today. We know that He created us. He loves us and has a good plan for us, just like we saw in the story of Jacob. His brother Esau chose to forgive him of all of his trickster trickiness, which was amazing. Okay, be real. Have you guys ever needed to be forgiven just like Jacob?
Yeah, I have. Actually, when I was in elementary school, and I was going to Bird Elementary, there was this big log that you could walk on like a balance beam. And my friend was up on the log walking on it, and I pushed him, and he broke his arm. And I felt so bad, and I had to ask for forgiveness because I pushed him and he broke his arm. Like, that's awful, but he forgave me and we were still friends after.
I too have needed to be forgiven before. I remember being in 5th grade and being in love with basketball cards, trading basketball cards, and I was the kind of guy that would try to trick people into thinking that they were getting a really good deal, but instead, I was actually getting the steal. And there were a couple times that I got caught and I had to return the cards and do a trade back, and I had to apologize and ask for forgiveness. And there were a few times that my friends actually forgave me for stealing and for being that kind of person toward them, which was really, really awesome, and I didn't deserve it at all.
Okay, yeah, me too, guys. Okay, I can remember one time when I was so upset with my brother. We had just driven home in the minivan with the old school sliding door that you had to slide. It was not a button, did not work on its own. There's no safety feature that would stop if an arm or a leg was out. So I was really upset. I was getting out of the car. He was getting out behind me, but I slammed the door and I slammed his fingers in the sliding door, and he cried. Yeah, oh yeah. Nothing was broken. I don't know how that didn't happen, but I had to ask for forgiveness too. Yep. But you know what, guys? We all need forgiveness. That's true, because we all have sin in our life. But the good news is that God sent someone to take care of our sin, and that was Jesus. He promised to send someone to rescue us, and He did. So all we have to do is to put our trust and faith in Jesus, and He will take our sin and we will be forgiven forever. It's amazing news. Friends, isn't that amazing? We did it. Hashtag bring it all together. See you next time.
That story was awesome. God changed Jacob's whole life and gave him a new name, Israel. From Jacob's family, from the nation of Israel, God would eventually bring His own son, Jesus, into the world. Jesus came so that we could have a changed life, forgiven of sin. When we trust in Jesus, we also get a new name. We get the name Child of God. Goodbye for now, children of God. Don't just sit there. Go wake up the world.